All right, students. So today we're going to do assignment 2.1, comparing cells, comparing types of cells. So in this class, what we were doing is we're learning right now about the difference between two different types of cells. We have cells that are called prokaryotic and other ones that are called eukaryotic. And we're going to learn some information about them to help us understand what kinds of cells we have when we're looking at bacteria and what kinds of cells do we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill out this information here. We're going to use the information from the reading and fill out this chart here. So what I would recommend that you first do is, again, I want you to make sure that you read the text and translate the words you don't know. So if you don't understand anything from the document, you're going to go to Tools, Translate Document, and click the language you want to translate into. So we can Chinese, Arabic. You can also do Spanish, whatever language you want to translate in, you are welcome to do so. If you want to just write, you will write the translations here. Again, you need to write in a language that you understand. It does not help you to write in English if you don't understand what you are writing. Okay, so let's go through this. So first, it's asking us organisms with these cells. So which organisms have prokaryotic cells and which ones have eukaryotic cells? So this is what a prokaryotic cell looks like. It looks like this, right? It has a cell wall, a plasma membrane. It has DNA and it has ribosomes. And there's this DNA here, right? It's in a shape called a nucleoid. Eukaryotic cells have DNA, ribosomes, plasma membrane, membrane-bound organelles, and membrane-bound nucleus. So organisms with these cells. So which organisms have these cells? Let's look down here. Okay, so it says here, all living things, organisms, so an organism is just something that's alive, have certain characteristics. All organisms from bacteria to humans are made of cells. There are two different types of cells, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. So this is what they look like. This is what a eukaryotic cell kind of looks like, and this is a prokaryotic cell. Again, these are obviously drawings. The cells don't actually look like that. If you want to prokaryotic cell, image. Again, these are not things that we can see with our eyes. So if you actually look at it under a microscope, it's going to look something like this. Right, so you can't really see it, right? It's hard to see, so that's why we have usually just drawings for these because they're so small. So let's see. So it says plants, animals, and humans all have eukaryotic cells. Bacteria only have prokaryotic cells. So prokaryotic cells and so bacteria, they're called prokaryotes. And everything else, all the other things are called eukaryotes. So over here, I'm going to say that the organisms that have prokaryotic cells are bacteria. And the ones that are eukaryotic are everything else. It's plants, animals, and humans. Those are eukaryotes or eukaryotic cells. So here I'll put plants, animals, and humans. Excellent. Now it's asking us for the number of cells. So let's see how many cells each of these types have. So if I'm a eukaryotic organism, or if I'm a eukaryote, so most organisms with eukaryotic cells are multicellular. Multi means many, and cellular means it has to do with cells. All organisms with prokaryotic cells, however, they are unicellular. Uni means one, and cellular means of relating to or relating to cells. So prokaryotes are unicellular; they only have one cell. Eukaryotes have many cells. So we are eukaryotes, right? Humans are eukaryotes. We have many cells. We are multicellular. Many cells. But eukaryotes like bacteria or prokaryotes like bacteria, they are unicellular. They have one cell, just one. Excellent. Okay. So now let's continue. So now it says types of organelles. So types of organelles. So the way I want you to think about this is, right? So we are humans, right? Inside of our body, we have organs. We have organs, right? These organs inside of our body do different things. So the lungs, right? The lungs help us like with oxygen to breathe. The heart helps move blood. The liver helps us if there's like something that we eat that needs to be decontaminated. So if you ever drink like alcohol or if you ever take a drug, it is processed by your liver. Your kidneys help flush out your urine. So anytime you go to the restroom, your kidneys help you flush that out. And your intestines help take in the food from your stomach, and they help absorb the nutrients. So in the same way, a cell has these things called organelles. So we call it organelle because it's like an organ, but it's small. It's very small. So these little small parts, right? These are each called organelles because they are small parts of a cell. So it's just kind of like an organ is for us. Like each organ has a different role. Each organelle also has a different role within a cell. And again, cells are very, very small. So it says cells have many specialized structures called organelles. Organelles help carry out its functions like taking in food and water. Some organelles, like mitochondria and the Golgi apparatus, have membranes, structures that cover and protect the organelles. We call these organelles membrane-bound organelles. Other organelles, like ribosomes, do not have membranes. So in the same way, right? So our stomach, if you think about what our stomach looks like, our stomach has liquid on the inside. It's just like these are called they're called gastric acids. Inside of your stomach, right? You want that liquid to stay inside of your stomach. You want it to stay in there because it's very acidic. If it leaves the stomach, it can burn. It can actually cause what's called an ulcer. If it leaves the stomach, an ulcer, not ulcerative colitis, ulcer. An ulcer is when the stomach burns. The stomach literally burns because there's a hole in the stomach and the acid starts to burn the cells outside. So you want the acid that is inside of your stomach to stay inside. So that's kind of what a membrane is. So what a membrane does is it keeps the things inside that need to be inside. So organelles that keep things inside are called membrane-bound organelles. The ones that do not keep things inside they're just other organelles, which organelles that do not have membranes. So prokaryotic cells only have organelles that do not have membranes, like ribosomes. So if we look here, right, there's no other like special kind of structures here. So here, if you see, right, everything is very organized. There's this is actually called the Golgi apparatus. It's not too important right now, but these don't have like, right, they have a little cover on the outside. Same with the mitochondria, right? They are covers. They all have things on the inside. So they have membranes. They have things that keep the things on the inside and prevent things from the outside from coming in. So prokaryotic cells. So the types of organelles, so prokaryotic cells only have they only have non or eukaryotic cells. So let's look back here. So prokaryotic cells only have organelles that do not have membranes. So they only have organelles that do not have membranes. Have organelles that do not have membranes. So like a ribosome. So to put an example, that's okay. However, eukaryotic cells have both. Eukaryotic cells have ones that have membranes and that do not have membranes. So eukaryotic cells have organelles that do not have membranes and membrane-bound ones. So they have ones that have membranes and ones that do not. So like they have ribosomes. So ribosomes have organelles that do not have membranes, like ribosomes, or membrane-bound organelles. So like the nucleus, the mitochondria. Maybe you know these. If you don't know them, that's okay. But it's more so just important for you to know that they're right. Some of them have, so the ones that have membranes are the ones that are like they're covered, they're closed, they're containers for something. Okay. So now let's see what else we need to know. So now we're talking about genetic material, DNA. So right, everything that's alive, all living things, all organisms have genetic material like DNA that makes them unique. In a eukaryotic cell, so we are oops, these are backwards. My bad, there's a mistake here. They should say eukaryotic here, and they should say prokaryotic over here. I made a mistake. All organisms have genetic material, like DNA, that makes them unique. In eukaryotic cells, the DNA is organized into structures called chromosomes. The DNA is stored in the nucleus, a membrane-bound organelle. So if we look here at the eukaryotic cell, right, inside the nucleus, we have DNA. That DNA is folded into a structure called a chromosome. So you may not know what a chromosome is. It's not too important, but what it really is, right? So it's DNA. This is DNA. Like DNA is just a long molecule. It gets wrapped up into this structure called a chromosome. It's the same exact thing. So if someone says DNA or someone says chromosome, they are talking about the same exact thing. Chromosome is just the shape. So for some reason, chromosomes, when they are folded in your body, they look like an X, or inside your cell, they look like an X. I don't know why, but they do. So, but it's the same thing. So if you are a eukaryotic cell, or you are a eukaryote like we are, your DNA is wrapped up into structures called chromosomes. So in the nucleus of your cells, right, this little container here in the middle called the nucleus, it has the DNA inside of it, and it's membrane bound, right? It's closed. The DNA, you do not want the DNA to be going everywhere. You want the DNA to stay right in there. So we put here for eukaryotic, genetic material. This genetic material is, right, we can write, let's take it from here. Let's see. Eukaryotic, it says DNA is organized into structures called chromosomes and is stored in the nucleus. And it is stored in the nucleus. But chromosomes and DNA, they're the same thing. It's the exact same thing. What about, let's look at prokaryotes, prokaryotics. So it says here that In prokaryotic cells, there is no nucleus. There's no nucleus. So right here in the prokaryotic cell, there's no nucleus that is holding the, like here we had this nucleus that's holding the DNA. Here we do not. In a prokaryotic cell, there is no nucleus. The DNA is not organized into any structure and freely flows around in a space that we call the nucleoid. It's not really too important, but the point is that there's no nucleus. So everything is just kind of thrown around. So there's no nucleus. No nucleus. Okay. Reproduction. So how do these cells duplicate? How do these cells make copies of each other? So let's see here. So to reproduce, prokaryotic cells duplicate their DNA and divide into half to create two organisms. The process of cell reproduction in prokaryotic organisms is called binary fission. Binary fission creates two bacteria from one parent bacteria. So here we have a parent bacteria. What it does is it duplicates its DNA, right? It makes two copies, and then it literally cuts itself in half and makes two new bacteria. So these are now two new bacteria. There are two new organisms, right? Initially we had one and now we have two. So that process is called binary fission. Binary meaning two, fission meaning to split. So binary fission is how prokaryotes reproduce. Okay. What about for eukaryotes? So here it says eukaryotic cells reproduce by replicating their DNA and divide in half to create two cells. The process of cell reproduction in eukaryotic organisms is called mitosis. Mitosis creates two identical cells from one parent cell, but they are part of the same organism. So right, this happens in our body. So right, so I think I showed you before. So if you think about a zygote, this is how our bodies start off. We start off as a zygote, right? When a sperm and an egg unite, they form a zygote. And so what happens is that this fertilized egg or zygote, it eventually duplicates several times. It duplicates over and over and over again, and eventually it forms a fetus, which eventually will become a baby. So what it's saying is that every time the cell duplicates, it's still part of the same organism. It's not a new organism, it's the same one. So this process is called mitosis. This process is called mitosis. And in this process, we are not making a new organism. Here we go, mitosis. What about, and now we're going to talk about that. So binary fission, we can maybe put here like creates a new organism. And here we just put creates a new cell. Same organism. We're not making a new when the fertilized egg duplicates, we are not making a new organism. It is part of the same organism. So here we're going to put size. Let's look for size. So prokaryotic cells are approximately 0.1 to 5 micrometers in size. Eukaryotic cells are larger and are from 10 to 100 micrometers. So here, this is an example of bacteria. They're 2 micrometers in size. It's very, very, very small. You can't see them with your eyes. Eukaryotic cells are bigger. So here's an amoeba. It's still pretty small. It actually only has one cell. It's a eukaryote, but they are bigger. So prokaryotic cells we can put here. So we can put this. And then what we can do then is we can put over here the other one. We can put that the other ones are 10 to 100 micrometers. They are larger. Okay, so here I put smaller and here larger. And that's all. Hopefully this helps students. I'll see you tomorrow.